The vast halls of the Xelari Grand Archive were silent, the air thick with the scent of ancient paper and digital dust. Scholar Vale moved cautiously through the dimly lit aisles, his claws gliding over the glowing datapads stacked high on the towering shelves. He had spent years in this place, lost in the endless knowledge of the galaxy. But tonight was different. Tonight, he was searching for something forbidden. A message had arrived on his private terminal, a cryptic hint from an anonymous source. The truth about humanity is not what you think. Check the restricted files. Project Guardian. Humanity. The unpredictable, warlike species that had baffled the Galactic Union for centuries. They were stronger, faster, and more adaptable than any known race. Some saw them as a threat, others as a mystery. But Vale had never imagined there was something being hidden about them. He reached the deepest section of the archives, where the restricted files were kept. A heavy security door loomed before him. His 3 hearts pounded as he entered the stolen access code. The console blinked red, then green. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside, the room was cold and dark. Rows of forgotten records lay untouched, concealed from the rest of the galaxy. Vale moved quickly, scanning the labels. Classified research, genetic anomalies, war logs, and then Project Guardian. His fingers trembled as he activated the file. A holographic display flickered to life, showing a series of images. Humans, not in war, not in conquest, but protecting. Shielding weaker species, fighting battles in the shadows, sacrificing themselves for others. Vale's eyes widened as the reports scrolled before him. The Union had labeled humans as unpredictable, as a species that could turn violent at any moment. But that was a lie. The files showed something else entirely. Humanity wasn't meant to be predators. They were created, chosen, to be the galaxy's last line of defense. But against what? Vale scrolled further. His breath caught as he saw a section marked "The First War," erased from history. Before he could open it, the archive's lights flashed red. The alarm system activated. Unauthorized access detected. A mechanical voice announced. Vale's blood ran cold. Someone knew he was here. Footsteps echoed in the hall behind him. He wasn't alone anymore. Vale's mind raced. He had to run. The red warning lights flickered, casting eerie shadows across the archive walls. Footsteps grew louder, heavy, purposeful. Security. If they caught him accessing restricted files, he would disappear like the others who asked too many questions. He yanked a small data chip from his belt and jammed it into the console, rapidly downloading the files. Come on. Come on. The progress bar crawled forward. A deep voice echoed from the hallway. Step away from the terminal, Scholar. Vale's hearts pounded. The file transfer was at 78%. He couldn't stop now. He glanced back and saw them. 2 armored guards, plasma rifles aimed at him. Their silver visors hid their expressions, but Vale could feel their tension. I'm just doing research," he stammered. "That research is classified," the guard growled. "Turn off the console. Now." 89%. Vale's claws twitched over the console. His mind raced. If he stopped now, the truth would be lost. But if he resisted, he took a slow breath. "I didn't know this was restricted." A lie. A bad one. The second guard stepped forward, voice robotic through the helmet. "Don't play games. We know exactly what you were looking for." 96%. Almost there. Vale's pulse pounded in his head. He had one shot. He moved fast, slamming his fist onto the emergency blackout switch. The archive plunged into darkness. Shouts. Movement. The guards cursed as their visors struggled to adjust. 100%. Transfer complete. Vale ripped the data chip out and bolted. Blinding flashes of plasma fire illuminated the darkness behind him. The air burned as shots narrowly missed him. One hit, and it was over. His claws scraped against the smooth floor as he turned a corner, sprinting towards the emergency exit. The guards were close. Too close. He skidded to a stop in front of the sealed door. Locked. No time to hack. No time to think. He reached into his satchel, grabbed a small energy disruptor, and slammed it against the door panel. A desperate move. Sparks flew. The control system fizzled out. For a second, nothing happened. Then, the door hissed open. Vale dashed through just as another plasma shot whizzed past his head. The cold night air hit him as he stumbled onto a high balcony overlooking the glowing city below. The ground was too far down to jump. Behind him, the guards charged forward. Vale had only one option. He reached for his communicator. "Rawl, I need an extraction. Now." A crackling response. "On my way. Hold on." He turned just as the guards burst onto the balcony, weapons raised. Nowhere left to run. Vale clutched the data chip in his palm. He had the truth, but could he escape with it? The wind howled around Vale as he stood at the edge of the balcony, gripping the data chip like his life depended on it. Because it did. The guards advanced, weapons aimed directly at him. There was nowhere left to run. "Drop the chip," one of them commanded. Now, Vale's mind raced. If they got the chip, everything would be lost. The truth about humanity, the erased war, the secret behind their existence, gone. Below, the city stretched out in a sea of neon lights and flying transports. If he jumped, he'd fall hundreds of feet. But if he stayed, he'd never leave this place alive. A deep voice crackled through his communicator. "Hold on, I'm almost there." The guards took a step closer. "This is your last warning." Vale took a deep breath. "Trust Rawl." Then he did the unthinkable. He jumped. For a moment, there was nothing but wind rushing past his face. The world spun. His stomach lurched. Then, a roaring engine. Out of the darkness, a sleek black ship shot up beneath him. The hatch slid open just in time. He crashed inside, tumbling onto the metal floor. The hatch slammed shut. "Got you." Ral's voice rang out as he yanked the controls, sending the ship into a sharp dive. Plasma shots rained down from above as the guards opened fire. That was insane. Ral yelled over the alarms. "You really jumped." "Had no choice." Vale gasped, clutching the data chip. "Just get us out of here." The ship veered sharply as Rawl activated the cloaking system. The city lights blurred as they disappeared into the night sky. Vale exhaled, his body still shaking. He looked down at the chip in his hand. The truth about humanity was inside. And now, there was no turning back. The ship hummed softly as it drifted through the darkness of deep space. The glow of the city had long since disappeared behind them, and now only the distant stars remained. Vale sat in the co-pilot's seat, still catching his breath. His claws trembled as he turned the small data chip over in his hands. Rail, his longtime friend and the best pilot he knew, threw him a sideways glance. "All right, Vale," he said, flicking a few switches to stabilize their course. "You risked your life for that thing. Now tell me, what's so important about it?" Vale hesitated. Even speaking about what he had seen felt dangerous. But Rawl had just saved his life. He had to know. "It's about the humans," Vale finally said. Rail scoffed. "Of course it is. Always some mystery with them." "No," Vale shook his head. "It's bigger than that. Everything we know about them, it's a lie. The Galactic Union classified them as unpredictable, dangerous. But these files say they were chosen for something. Not as predators, but as protectors." Rel frowned. "Protectors of what?" Vale hesitated. He had only glimpsed the files before the alarms went off. There was so much he hadn't seen. "There was something about a war," he said. "A war that was erased from history. Something humanity fought against while the rest of the galaxy looked away. And it's not over." Rel leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. "So let me get this straight. You're telling me humanity is some kind of secret guardian race, fighting an invisible war that no one remembers? Yes. Raul exhaled sharply and ran a hand over his face. And you stole proof of this from the Grand Archive? Yes. A long silence stretched between them. Then, Rail let out a dry chuckle. You really don't do things halfway, do you? Before Vale could respond, an alarm blared. Raul's hands flew to the controls. We've got company. Vale turned to the radar screen. 3 Union ships were closing in fast. They must have tracked us, Vale muttered. We have to get out of here. Raul's fingers danced over the controls. Already on it. The ship shuddered as the first blast of plasma fire streaked past them. The Union wasn't sending a warning. They were shooting to kill. Vale gripped the edge of his seat. The truth about humanity was in his hands, and now the entire Union was after him. But he wasn't going to let them win. Not yet. The ship rattled violently as plasma fire streaked past its hull. The Union ships were fast, too fast. Rail gritted his teeth as he yanked the controls, weaving between the incoming blasts. They're not playing around, Rail shouted. Vale clutched the armrest, his mind racing. We need to lose them. Raul's fingers danced over the controls, flipping switches in rapid succession. I'm working on it, but unless you've got a secret weapon in that satchel of yours, we're running out of options. Vale's eyes darted to the navigation screen. They were heading toward a nearby asteroid field. A dangerous gamble, but it was their only shot. There, Vale pointed. Take us into the asteroid field. Rel glanced at him like he was insane. That's suicide. They won't risk following us in there, Vale argued. But you're the best pilot I know. If anyone can make it through, it's you. Rel exhaled sharply. You better be right about this. With a sharp pull of the controls, the ship veered toward the asteroid field. The warning system blared as they entered the dense cluster of massive, tumbling rocks. Behind them, the Union ships hesitated. For a brief moment, Vale thought they might turn back. Then, to his horror, they followed. They're still on us. Roll cursed, dodging a massive asteroid by mere meters. They really don't want you getting away with that chip. Vale's mind raced. Why were they so desperate? What was on this chip that they would risk an asteroid field just to stop him? A sudden impact shook the ship. One of the pursuing vessels had clipped an asteroid, spinning out of control before slamming into another. One down. Rail grinned. That's what you get for chasing me. Vale wasn't laughing. 2 more were still on them. Another blast rocked the ship. Sparks flew from the control panel. Shields are failing. Raul yelled. We're not gonna last much longer. Vale's eyes locked onto the scanner. A massive asteroid loomed ahead, splitting into 2 halves with a narrow gap between them, just barely wide enough for a ship. Through there, he shouted. You're insane. Trust me. Raul muttered a curse and pushed the thrusters to maximum. The ship shot forward like a missile, heading straight for the gap. The Union ships hesitated, but only for a second. It was a second too long. Raul's ship slipped through the gap at the last moment. One of the pursuing ships tried to follow and smashed into the asteroid, exploding on impact. Only 1 Union ship remained. Vale's breath came fast. We just need to lose the last one. Rail grinned. Oh, I've got a plan. He yanked the controls sharply, spinning the ship into a steep dive, straight toward the largest asteroid in the field. Vale's heart nearly stopped. What are you doing? Making sure they don't follow us, Rail smirked. At the last possible moment, Rail flipped the ship upside down and pulled into a sharp climb. The pursuing Union ship, unable to react in time, slammed directly into the asteroid. Boom. Silence filled the cockpit. The radar showed nothing but debris behind them. Raul let out a breath and leaned back. That was way too close. Vale exhaled shakily, gripping the data chip in his trembling claws. We did it. But deep inside, he knew this wasn't over. The Union wouldn't stop hunting them. Not until they buried the truth. Vale glanced at the chip in his hand, and whatever was on it was worth killing for. The silence inside the cockpit was unsettling. The ship drifted in the darkness of space, far from the wreckage of their pursuers. Raul let out a deep breath, rubbing his temples. "Well, that was fun," he muttered. "How about next time we don't steal secrets that make the entire Union want to kill us?" Vale didn't answer. He was staring at the small data chip in his hand. The weight of it felt heavier than before, as if it carried the fate of the galaxy itself. Rail sighed. "All right, what now? We can't go back to any known stations. The Union has our ship tagged for sure. We need to find out what's on this," Vale said, his voice quiet but firm. Rail raised an eyebrow. "I thought you already knew." "I only saw fragments," Vale admitted. "Enough to know it's dangerous, but I don't know everything." Rail gestured to the controls. "Then plug it in. Let's see what's worth dying for." Vale hesitated. Something inside him whispered that once he saw the full truth, there would be no turning back. But he had come too far to stop now. Slowly, he inserted the data chip into the ship's terminal. The screen flickered to life, scrolling through encrypted files before a decrypted message appeared. The word CLSFIE, Leviel Omega, flashed at the top. Then, the real information began. Project Guardian, humanity's true purpose. The file contained records dating back thousands of years, to a war that no history books mentioned, a war against an enemy that should not exist. "The Devourers," Vale whispered. Rail leaned closer. "What the hell is a devourer?" The screen displayed images, twisted creatures of shadow and hunger, not bound by physics, not stopped by conventional weapons. Entire planets had been wiped out in mere days. "The Union never told us about this," Vale said, his voice shaking. "Because they made a deal. Instead of fighting, they hid." Raul's face darkened. "And humanity." Vale's claws tightened into fists. "They didn't hide. They fought. Alone." The record showed battle after battle, Earth's forces holding the line, pushing back the unthinkable. But there was more. "The Union didn't just erase this history," Vale muttered. "They erased something else." He scrolled down. His blood ran cold. "Status. DEVOURERS contained. Humanity. REMANS ONSTANDBY. It wasn't over. The war wasn't won. It was waiting to begin again. And humanity. They weren't just fighting," Vale whispered. "They were keeping the monsters trapped." Rail stared at him. "You're telling me the only thing standing between us and total annihilation is humans?" Vale nodded slowly. "And now that we know the truth, the Union will do anything to stop us." A sharp alarm suddenly rang through the ship. "Incoming transmission." Raul's hand hovered over the controls. "They found us." Vale swallowed hard. Now they had to make a choice. Run or fight. The sharp repeating alarm echoed through the cockpit, a harsh reminder that they were no longer safe. Raul's fingers hovered over the controls, his eyes locked on the blinking red signal. An incoming transmission. It could only mean one thing. The Union had found them. Vale's throat was dry. "Don't answer it," he said quickly. Rail gave him a sideways glance, "and let them blow us out of the sky instead." The signal repeated, more urgent this time. Whoever was on the other end wasn't going to wait forever. Vale's mind raced. The Union knew what was on this chip. They had erased history to keep this secret buried. And now he and Rail were the only ones who had seen the truth. "If we answer, they'll trace us," Vale muttered. "They already traced us," Rail shot back. "Question is, do we talk or do we run?" Vale hesitated. Running had worked before, but not forever. No matter where they went, the Union would keep hunting them. His claws clenched into a fist. "Answer it." Rull exhaled sharply and pressed the button. The cockpit screen flickered to life. A figure appeared, Admiral Xathus of the Galactic Union Fleet. The reptilian officer's golden eyes locked onto them, unreadable but sharp. Too calm, too calculating. "Vale," the Admiral said smoothly. "You have something that doesn't belong to you." Vale swallowed hard but kept his voice steady. "I have the truth." Xathus tilted his head slightly. "Truth? You mean lies. Half-truths designed to create chaos. I know what you think you found, but you don't understand it." Vale's heart pounded. "I understand plenty. You erased an entire war from history. You let humanity fight alone. And now you're trying to keep everyone blind to the danger that still exists." Xathus sighed, shaking his head. "You really don't see it, do you? We didn't erase history to hide the truth. We erased it to protect the galaxy." Rull scoffed. "Yeah. From what?" Xathus's gaze darkened. "From humanity." Silence filled the cockpit. Vale's mind raced. "What are you talking about?" Xathus leaned forward. "You think humans are just guardians, protectors. That's what they want you to believe. But you don't know what they had to become to fight the Devourers. They are not heroes. They are weapons. And if the rest of the galaxy finds out, if people learn what they're truly capable of, do you think we'll ever know peace again?" Vale's blood ran cold. The words rang with a terrifying logic. Xathus continued, voice smooth and controlled. "Give me the data chip, and I will personally see to it that you and your pilot walk away from this. No more running. No more fear. You can go home." Vale's grip tightened around the chip. This was it. The moment of choice. Trust the Union. Give up the truth and live. Or keep running. And face whatever came next. Ral's fingers tapped impatiently on the console. "Vale, whatever you're gonna do it fast." The ship's sensors flashed. Multiple Union warships inbound. Vale took a deep breath. They had only seconds to decide. The cockpit lights flickered as the ship's sensors blared a warning. Union warships inbound. Ral's grip tightened on the controls. "Vale, we are out of time." On the screen, Admiral Xathus remained calm, his golden eyes unwavering. "This is your last chance. Surrender the data. Walk away. Otherwise, you won't leave this system alive." Vale's mind raced. If they handed over the chip, the truth would be buried forever. But if they fought, he took a deep breath. They had come too far to stop now. He locked eyes with Xathus. "I think we'll take our chances." The Admiral's expression didn't change. "So be it." The transmission cut out. Instantly, the warships on the scanners began closing in. Rill cursed. "I hope you have a plan." Vale pulled up the data files. "We can't outrun them, but we don't need to." He started broadcasting the encrypted files on an open frequency. Every ship, every station, every planet in range would receive the truth. Ral's eyes widened. "You're sending it to everyone." Vale nodded. "They wanted to keep this buried. Let's see them try to erase it now." The comms lit up with confused and panicked transmissions. Union officers demanding explanations. Independent traders shocked by what they were seeing. The secret was out. A tremor shook the ship. The Union fleet had fired the first shot. Rull yanked the controls, dodging the blast. "We're not gonna last long in a firefight." Vale's claws flew over the console, rerouting power to the engines. "We just need to hold out a little longer." Then a new signal appeared on the radar. Multiple ships, inbound fast. At first, Vale thought they were more Union reinforcements, but then he saw the signatures. They weren't Union ships. They were human. The comms crackled to life. A voice, calm but firm, came through. "This is Captain Darius of the UNSC Vigilance. We received your broadcast." Vale's breath caught. You got it." "We got everything," Darius confirmed. "And we're not letting the Union silence you." The human fleet opened fire. Union warships scrambled to react as plasma rounds tore through their formations. Humanity had arrived, and they were not happy. Rail laughed in disbelief. I think we just started a war. Vale exhaled slowly, staring at the chaos outside. No. The war was already there, he murmured. We just made sure no one could ignore it anymore. As the battle raged, one thing became clear. The galaxy would never be the same again.